Leaves are not only a great mulch, they're a great insulation. Let me show you how to protect your garden from the cold weather. Today is Saturday, and you know what that means. We do a quick review of this garden, then we go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. Yesterday we had our first snow, and I told you we'd talk about ways to protect your winter garden. There's a heck of a storm brewing, and it's going to sweep across the United States, and almost every state's going to get some bad weather, cold weather, snowy weather. Depending on where you live, your challenges are going to be tougher. I'm in Zone 7, right in the middle of the United States, and it's forecast to be down in the single digits for several days starting next weekend. That's why we're here looking at leaves today. Not only are we going to use them for mulch, but we're going to use them for insulation to begin with. There's a lot of things you can insulate with. Let's go ahead and take a look at Howard and what he's done to insulate his garden. Now Howard's using some hay and some hoops and some cover. Keep those edges covered. When it gets warm, he can pull that back real easily and then cover it up for the real cold days. Howard, this is great. Thank you for sharing. Looking at this area, you can see just by raking, it looks like it's really thick, but there's only a few leaves thick. We're going to take a few bags. We'll meet you back in the garden. Now that we have the leaves over here, let's see what we want to do with them. Come on. Now right in here, we've got a few things that we planted, but we got a bunch of volunteers. We got some beets that I want to let go to seed. We got some kale, some Swiss chard. We got some cilantro. Most of this, we've just left go, you know, in the 20s, 23 degrees, didn't really matter. But when it gets down to 7, I think we want to protect this a little bit. So this is one of my plans. We're just using these leaves as insulation right now. And the nice thing is, once it warms up, we're just going to dump this out. We'll add a little more mulch to the garden. And all I'm really using this for, we're using this for some insulation, but we're also using this to keep the plastic up off the ground. And for this little patch of beets that's been growing for almost a year, I'm going to do a little lean-to deal. We'll just take our leaves on the north side. I'm just going to use this old screen to keep it up off the ground, and then we're going to take and cover this with hay. That's one of the reasons I hadn't unrolled all the hay. We got 60 more days, we could still have some bad weather. And if we don't get that bad weather, I'll just spread this out. But for right now, it's easier to have them in piles like this. And for those beets over there, I'm just going to take pieces. We'll make sure we cover the sides enough. Now, if you've already spread out your hay, you can always take it off the top and then come back and put it back later. But we want to make sure we cover up all the areas where we can get cold air in there with some mulch that'll let some warm air stay in here. So I'm just going to cover up the sides for right now. When it gets real cold, we'll just come cover that top. And then just to uncover it, you just flip that screen back. Very simple. It was very effective. Since we have mulch around the ground will stay warm. This should be just fine, even in those really low temperatures. A lot of these methods will work in the warmer zones where you only have a few days of this cold coming up. Bruce, I know you're taking advantage of the warm weather to prepare for the cold weather. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bruce's food forest. Being able to come out in the backyard and pick avocados and other exotic fruits. But when you got cold coming, you have to really worry about those things. Bruce does have a really nice variety of cold weather crops that are coming up really well. You might want to think about a little cover for them. And then after all the hard work in the food forest, what do? Well, of course, you make cheesecake. Bruce, that looks delicious. Thank you for sharing and for all the motivation throughout the years. Our community is awesome. Please hit that like button. That'll tell YouTube to push this out to more people that might want to learn how to garden. Take a look under here. I don't really see any carrots yet, but our collards and our turnips are doing really well. Now, knowing it's going to get that cold, we're also going to take and put hay up this far all the way around here. Now, we do have purple lettuce back here, and we've been eating off of that. But I'm going to use the same strategy here. I'm just going to use a screen, and when I put the hay in here heavy, I'll cover this up. That ground's going to be nice and warm, and that lettuce is going to be just fine. And then to uncover, we'll just lift that up, and that'll take the hay off that and allow the sun to hit them. And anywhere I have totes, say where our lettuce is here, my strategy is just to put hay up high all the way around, and if it gets really cold, put a little on top. But the best scenario, we get hay up to here and it snows on top, and that'll create a nice little igloo of insulation. And then our strategy for this is we will pile the mulch in all around the edges to make sure that they're buttoned down, the wind can't get underneath there. And back here, we have totes on either end of this little bed, and then we have the plastic pulled across it. And I've weighted that down with the 2x4, but when it gets really cold, we'll bring in some more hay. That's why I put this hay in here pretty thick. We're also going to cover the garlic and the shallots. There's no need for these to frost down. They've had enough cold weather, they should be bulbing up good. I just don't want to lose all the tops. This is all just preset strategy. Make sure you got enough plastic. You can use your bags to kind of tuck under. And the beautiful thing about the deep mulch, there's always something to put around the edges. This is just pre-planning, and you can do this too. And the nice thing is when we uncover this, the mulch is still here. Another little secret about doing it this way, it helps mix that mulch together. And we're buttoned up. Until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.